Alright guys, welcome to AEW Dynamite February 12th, 2020 review. I'm gonna go on record and say this to you guys. I'm officially getting close to being done with WWE. I'm just gonna go into it a little bit here before I do the review on the show. But quite frankly, I'm pretty pissed off about what I've learned in the last couple of days about the WWE Network and what's going on with it. What they're going to do with the pay-per-views possibly in the future. I'm really getting to the point where I'm really don't want to be a fan anymore of this product. And I'm very thankful for AEW for being around at this point in time, to giving people the alternative to watch something else that are wrestling fans. They don't have to sit through WWE bullshit, and they're a top tier presentation show that give you something to watch. They are a great product. Are they, making any big time noise? No. But they are definitely playing a big part into WWE's company and how they are changing the way they are, which I read some information about Vince McMahon's feelings on what's going on with AEW and their involvement in the wrestling industry. And I find that comment that he thinks that they're not playing a big role to be a crock of shit, which I did hear JD's output on it and his outlook on what he has to say, and I totally agree with him 100%. WWE is a failing product, and when I go over this with you guys later on this weekend, which I probably will do Saturday night or Sunday, or on Sunday sometime and upload it, you're gonna laugh if you haven't already heard about it. If not, at least you'll get some opinion on my end on what I think about it. Just my own thoughts, not shared by other people I've heard on the network, or not the network, by YouTube channels and stuff like that. Just my overall opinion and how I feel about it. It's pretty fucking ridiculous what they're doing. But let's get into AEW Dynamite February 12th show. This show was actually pretty solid. It had some good matches. The Dark Order had some involvement in the end of the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, which I thought was great. I thought it was a great way to start off the show. Number 2, they did not have a lot of tag team wrestling tonight, which I appreciate. Not every match has to be a tag team match. Tonight we got some freaking one-on-one wrestling, which is nice. I appreciate the tag team love there with AEW, but for the last couple of months, come on, man, give us something different than just tag team wrestling. You can do it. I believe in you. But overall, this AEW World Tag Team Championship match, solid as fuck. They have made Kenny Omega and Hangman Page look great while also producing a good story development leading to a future match between these two guys. You can definitely see it is unfolding as it goes, but they have yet to lose the tag team titles. Here, I am glad they did not do that, because they're in the middle of moving towards a pay-per-view, Revolution. Now, granted, they're going to be defending their tag team titles again, now against the Lucha Brothers. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I don't see the Lucha Brothers really doing a whole lot of anything lately in the tag team division. But they're giving them a tag team championship match anyway. So, whatever. But this match, great way to start off the show. And Kenny Omega and Hangman Page win the match by a double finishing maneuver with a V-trigger and a buckshot lariat at the same time to Frankie Kazarian at the end of the match. And that's how the match ends. So from there, We then have Paige grabbing some beer and heads out through the crowd. Back in the ring, Sky and Kazarian look disappointed with the results. From the back come the Dark Order, Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Grayson. Best friends run out to the ring to even the odds. Now comes the Butcher and the Blade, TH2, and the Young Bucks. Everyone starts brawling as the preview next week. Tag Team Battle Royale. The winner will face Omega and Paige for the titles at Revolution on February 29th. Okay, my question is this. What the fuck are they defending the tag team titles against the Lucha Brothers? Why wouldn't the Lucha Brothers win this Battle Royal and get the opportunity to challenge for the tag team titles? This makes no sense why they're doing this next week. So don't ask me. I have no idea. It makes no fucking sense to me. But whatever. So it's an obvious spoiler alert that Lucha Brothers aren't going to be the ones to dethrone Hangman Page and Kenny Omega in this instance. So that's whatever. So Jim Ross spoke with Santana, and this promo I absolutely enjoy. I love these promos that they do, these video packages where they have Jim Ross speak to a wrestler and get a deep insight on a character, their real life story, and things of that sort. It feels very sports authentic. This was no different. They talked a lot about Santana, how he ended up being blinded in one eye, and now he feels like he lives in darkness somewhat. It reminds him of his father's situation. His father actually started losing his sight at 14 and then was blind at 25. His dad was they showed pictures of him and his dad using a blind man's cane to, find where he was going and stuff like that, like people that unfortunately have no sight. And how he felt horrible for his old man at 25 years old, having the inability to see at 25. So Santana says that's what he has to live with, and he wants to show Moxley the same kind of darkness. So that was pretty much the overall consensus of that whole video package. Now, I actually liked it. I thought it was very good. It was very realistic, very heartfelt. Now, at the same time, Jim Ross does throw something out there, and what I like about it is Santana doesn't become unprofessional about the comment that Jim Ross pointed out to him. Jim Ross goes ahead and he says, look, don't you think it has something to do with what you and your group did to Jon Moxley to get him to want to do something like that to you guys? And his attitude was, and it was very retarded comment, but he wasn't unprofessional when he said it. He went ahead and he said, look, the man had the opportunity to join one of the biggest factions that's making AEW successful today, and he threw it all away just so he could get a AEW World Championship match and to treat the world champion like trash. So we treated him back the same way. Jim Ross points out, though, don't you feel maybe it should be Chris Jericho you should be blaming and not the Jon Moxley? And he reiterates back with that comment. Well, he states that after Jim Ross stated that, so I kind of had the timeline of what was said in that whole thing messed up, but you get what I mean. But yeah, that's pretty much the overall feeling on the situation. And I thought it was very nice. I thought it was a very cool way of putting it all together. It was very professional interview. And I thought that was very classy of AEW. And also it looked very sports authentic to me. Then we had Darby Allin have a promo video package. He holds up pieces of cardboard in front of the video camera, saying it was a mistake to slash his throat with his own skateboard, and will find the inner circle. In the meantime, challenges Sammy Guevara to a match at Revolution. Afterwards, Jim Ross says Allen has no official return date due to his throat injury. So that's pretty much that. Sammy Guevara actually faces Dustin Rhodes, and Dustin Rhodes picks up another victory over Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is just a fucking loser, a weak link on this team. I don't even know why the fuck he's on this team. He sucks. And yeah, my best friend, we were talking while the show is going on, and he jokes around with me saying, "Oh, isn't Sammy Guevara one of your favorite wrestlers? I mean, don't you hype him up and say he should be the AEW World Champion over Chris Jericho?" I felt like saying to him, "Oh, I'll just say it right now. Matthew, I should have said to you, why don't you go fuck yourself?" With that bullshit. Anyway, he was just fucking around with me, but it's just a dumb comment. Anyway, this matchup was alright. Dustin Rhodes, once again, proving as old as he might be, he still can deliver a decent match. And this was no different. Dustin Rhodes wins the matchup with a very nice ending. I was very satisfied with this match. So I had no complaints there. He then later, after the match is over, makes comments toward Jack Hager. Says Jack Hager is Chris Jericho's bitch. And he turns around as he heads up to the ramp, and Rhodes asks Hager if he's ever going to get into the ring or just pick up a paycheck. Rhodes says he wants a match at Revolution so he can kick his ass, and he says, "Are you gonna get in the ring, or are you gonna be just as pathetic as you are in the mixed martial arts world, where you're failing in that, and you're gonna continue to fail here even before you get inside of a ring?" I thought that was pretty fucking hard words right there. So basically, later on in the show, though, this match is announced that it's official. These two guys will be going at it at Revolution. This card is actually looking pretty decent overall. I'm not really dissatisfied with it. Now, am I going to go out of my way to spend $49.99 on this? No, I am not. Unfortunately, I've been spending a lot of money on repairs on things that I have, things I own, and cars and shit like that. I can't afford it right now. So I'm gonna have to give you guys a deal off of online without me actually paying for it, and give you guys a review the next day. That's what I'm gonna have to do. But here's what I have to say here about this next segment. We have a recap of Brett Baker breaking Yuka Sasaki's tooth after last week's match. And then we get her showing up with Tony Schiavone on the stage. And out comes Brett Baker, who gives him a hug. He asks how she can justify what she did last week. She calls it a stupid question and says, as a dentist, she was doing her duty for the public because that tooth was in decay and it wasn't coming out anyways. Baker continues that she did Yuka a favor, and she did it for free. Baker then rips on Tony a bit, mentioning the barista thing again. Tony asks Brett about Riho versus Nyla Rose. She says it will be an awesome match, but both competitors are still number 2 compared to her. She tells the fans to shut their chubby Whataburger faces and get some big boos and Whataburger chants from the crowd as she continues talking before heading to the back. So that's pretty much that. Brett Baker also mentioned she's the number 1 woman of the women's division in wrestling. I started laughing when I heard that bullshit. She's out of her goddamn mind. Because I will say this straight up. I am not a huge fan of WWE lately over the last couple of years. But I will go on record to say this. WWE, whether it's the WWE main roster, and I do understand WWE main rosters, women's wrestlers are not always the best. There are some of them that are really good. Those are the ones that came from NXT and are highlighted in the main event spots, which is the top 4. And then you got the NXT women. They blow them away. Hands down, they blow them away like it's nobody's fucking business. And I honestly can say that is a blessing in disguise. But to be quite frank with you, Britt Baker saying she's the number 1 wrestler in women's wrestling, she's out of her fucking mind. That's a crazy comment that came out of her mouth. Alright, so then we get Riho versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship, and finally Riho loses the title to Nyla Rose. Now, I got one question. Why couldn't we have got Nyla Rose as the world champion to start with? I'm not a big Nyla Rose fan, but logically, she would probably be the better choice to go with in the first place. Yes, I am criticizing AEW for this decision. Why in the first place didn't Nyla Rose just win the fucking AEW World Championship to start with? Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense that Riho, who weighs 94 fucking pounds and is smaller than I am, and I'm only 5'6", is a women's world champion to a woman who's the same size as Nia Jax. Makes no fucking sense to me. Not one bit. But Nyla Rose wins this time. But the first time she couldn't win. Don't quite understand that one. Very horrible logic. Very bad. I didn't particularly care for this match either. It's not as good as their first. Really, either one of these matches absolutely sucked. Fans, though, were very much into it. Why? I have no fucking idea. But then again, they paid their money. They might as well make some fucking noise. Unlike some of the WWE fans that go pay their money and they sit there with their ass on their hands and they do nothing about it. They don't chant refunds. They don't bitch. They don't moan. They just sit there in silence. Good job by WWE fans. Me, I'm going to WrestleMania and NXT and I'm going to make some fucking noise. And hey, if at WrestleMania they kick me out because I'm making some noise, fuck them. Because I am sick and tired of the pussy-ass fans of professional wrestling. They don't make their noise. They don't make their comments. They don't make their voices heard. They just sit on their fucking asses when it comes to WWE fans and say nothing. If you're going to pay your fucking hard-earned money to go sit in a damn arena and watch a shitty-ass show, you should have the right as an American. As a fucking American, we live in America with the rights to freedom of speech. You should be able to voice your fucking opinion. There was one event that absolutely stood out to me, and I think it's one of the most famous Royal Rumbles of all time. And no, it wasn't because it was a great show. The show was awesome and memorable because of what the fans said and did in that audience. In 2014 at the Royal Rumble in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Those fans were watching John Cena and Randy Orton perform for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and they were chanting refund because they were sick and tired of watching the same old shit that was boring, dull, and ridiculous. They were also pissed off about Batista winning the Royal Rumble for a second time in his career, where he did nothing throughout the entire time leading up to the Royal Rumble match. They wanted Daniel Bryan to be the guy, and he was the guy at the end of the whole thing at WrestleMania because of what the fans said. Because without the fans mentioning how they were fucking fed up of what this company has been doing, they wouldn't have gotten Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania in 2014 at WrestleMania 30. That's all I have to say on that. Fans need to start raising their voices, and if they're so fucking fed up of this product, why go out and spend your fucking money for a show to sit there and do nothing? You might be asking me, maybe you ask me in the comments, and I'll just give you the answer to your question. Why, Bruce, then did you go out and spend your hard-earned money to go see WrestleMania 36 if you're venting about this? It's real simple. I am a fan of professional wrestling. It's been my dream to go to WrestleMania. And whether the product is good or not, after spending $200+ on the fucking ticket myself, just to go by myself, and go sit there and watch it, I'm going to make some fucking noise. I'm going to vent my frustrations on this company, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, as long as it's respectful, which I will be. I don't want to get myself kicked out for being a fucking idiot, but if I'm going to get kicked out for being able to stress my fucking opinions about how horrible the show might be at that time, I'm going to do it. And if I'm not allowed to, I'll tell them you can kiss my fucking ass. I'll leave. Because this is bullshit. It's time for fans to start standing up for what they believe in. I had a talk a long time ago about, talk with my dad a couple of times about people in the United States not venting their frustrations about the political government, about our government. And I gotta say one thing. We do have a choice in whether or not we watch WWE or not. We don't have a choice on what kind of government we can have, because that is kind of a limited thing. It's a little bit different. But with this, we have a lot of choices to choose from. We can either watch professional wrestling, accept the garbage that WWE gives us, or accept an alternative, which is what I'm reviewing with you guys right now. Sorry to go off topic, but I just was throwing that out there because fans were actually happy with this. And kudos to them. I'm glad they were happy with what they were watching. At least they were happy with what they spent their money to go see. And this is one of the matches they seemed to be pretty satisfied. So good for them. Me, I didn't really care for this match. And Nyla Rose winning made absolutely no fucking sense that she just didn't win in the first place. It's just me. Anyway, moving on. Next thing after that, we had Chris Jericho interviewed. And Jericho says that Moxley proved that he's trash after stealing his Ford GT car and then jabbing Santana in the eye with the key. Jericho says if Moxley can survive Santana, next Moxley will face Jeff Cobb, which is a fucking huge sign. This guy has not been in any major promotion. I've seen this man wrestle in different promotions that are that are small, and also New Japan Wrestling, and performed a couple of times. And this man can go. He's a big Samoan. He's as strong as an ox motherfucker, and he was also in the Olympics from what I found out in 2004. So this guy is definitely a eye grabber for wrestling fans to watch out for. This guy will deliver you a good match. He was produced very well in Ring of Honor until that fucking Ring of Honor World Championship match with Matt Taven last year in 2019 and the Best in the World. That was fucking trash. But other than that, he was produced very well and shown off to be a major commodity in the Ring of Honor promotion. So definitely watch out for this guy. This guy's got a lot of talent, and he can go for a guy his size. I can tell you that. So at this point, we had Brandy Rhodes join commentary and talk about Cody having to face Wardlow on next week's Dynamite in a steel cage match, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. I wonder how their steel cage is going to look. Not to mention, will they respect the integrity of what the steel cage is supposed to do? Keep people out of the fucking match. If they can't do it and make the fucking match mean something, they might as well not have steel cage matches at all in any wrestling promotion. That's just how I look at it. So after that, with that comment with Brandy Rhodes, we got MJF's match kicking off with him facing Jungle Boy, which was a decent, okay match. MJF, of course, does win the matchup altogether. He hits actually a Crossroads for the win. He also had Wardlow show up on the ringside apron. He slips MJF the ring on his finger as the referee's talking with Jungle Boy. and MJF punches him in the face and ditches the ring and hit Crossroads for the win, and that was that. After the match was over, Wardlow beats up Jungle Boy some more with a twisting F5, which I didn't figure that was an F5, but okay, whatever. So Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt run out to the ring. MJF and Wardlow head up the ramp. Pac cuts a promo to Kenny Omega, says all the Omega's problems are because of him. We actually see clips of Pac working out. The two will meet in 2 weeks in a 30-minute Iron Man match, and Pac says we'll see just how good Omega is, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Also, is announced that next week, as I already mentioned earlier in this review, that Hangman Page and Kenny Omega will be defending the tag team titles against the Lucha Bros, which should be a fun, entertaining match, but at the same time, you know the end result is going to be the Lucha Bros losing to Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, because they're going to be doing a battle royal to determine a number one contender to face them at the fucking pay-per-view. So this doesn't make logical sense to me for them to be doing this, outside of giving us an opportunity to see a championship match again and see Kenny Omega and Hangman Page work together and build a little bit more story leading up to the eventual title change at the pay-per-view of Revolution. I think that is when the title will change at Revolution at that point. So Jon Moxley versus Santana was the main event. They are making Jon Moxley look absolutely amazing. This guy is fucking great. I said before, a long time ago, Dean Ambrose, at the time named Dean Ambrose of WWE, now Jon Moxley, should have been the face of WWE. He was a modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin with a PG type look to him. He was very clean cut, where he could be very okay to use for a young audience to watch and be entertained, and he can be somewhat of a role model at the same time, completely nuts. But he was great. He had the ability to really be a number one guy there, and they just tore him the fuck apart and made him look like shit. Here, they're making him look like the new version of Stone Cold Steve Austin in their company. And I think that what they're doing here is fantastic. I think Jon Moxley looks like a superstar that he should have been in WWE, and unfortunately that was not the case. Here, he wins the matchup with his other eye that he can see out of blinded. He managed to get a way out of the situation, found Santana, and hit the paradigm shift and get the 1-2-3 to win this matchup. Unfortunately, at the end of the match, he was getting beaten the shit out of him by the entire group of the Inner Circle, and the fans were booing this all over the place. No matter how much they love Chris Jericho, no matter how much they love Pride and Powerful, and the entire group in itself, they were actually booing the shit out of these guys, because they want to see Moxley be the man. And there's a good reason. Because he is the fucking man. He is the guy that's going to lead this company into the future. Jon Moxley is a talented motherfucker. Even though he may not be the best catch cam wrestler in the world, he's got it. He's got the attitude. He has got what it takes. He has the old school mentality of a wrestler. And that is what we need in this business right now. We need some old school mentality, rough, tough, gritty looking motherfuckers who can give you a tough ass promo and be motherfuckers in the ring and hit hard and do what they do that makes it look real and believable. And Jon Moxley provides that in his matches. Santana was fantastic in this match as well. No discredit to him either. He did awesome. Ortiz played a strong role in this match, which almost cost Jon Moxley the match. I was impressed. I really enjoyed this matchup. I mean, it's not a 5 out of 5 stars, don't get me wrong, but they did the key elements of this matchup made it important. Right now, Jon Moxley looks like the underdog moving into this pay-per-view match in 2 weeks with Chris Jericho, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope Jon Moxley goes ahead and gets the victory, which more likely he will. If they don't, this will be a very sad, disappointing decision by AEW not to move forward with Jon Moxley as the AEW World Champion. I think that would be fucking retarded if they didn't do that. So, that was basically the ending of the show. Would I go back and watch this? Yeah, this was a good show. I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of good stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of tag team wrestling going on this show, which I thought was nice for a change. I mean, every once in a while you get covered of tag team wrestling. I'm okay with that. But a full-on show with nothing but tag team wrestling, that I'm not okay with. This episode did not give you that. They gave you singles matches with one tag team matchup, and I am totally fine with that. And I think they did a good job with this episode. It was a very solid, entertaining, and watchable show. And if I was anyone, I would go back and watch this if you were interested in watching it again or haven't watched it at all. So that's just my overall opinion on the show. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Like always, hit that like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And have a great night, guys, and I thank you very much for watching. I will provide the NXT show either tomorrow or sometime before the weekend is up. So keep an eye out for that. And I thank you again for watching this episode of AEW Dynamite Review for February 12th, 2020. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.